It's early 2000s. Life is simple and fun for young Shameless as he sits down in front of TV again after a long day at primary school. The sun is burning and going outside in this heat just provides another reason to stay inside and watch some Jetix. To those of you unfortunate not to know Jetix, it was an international television network with focus on child-oriented action and adventure programs. After Disney bought a 96% share in 2008, effectively owning the brand, Disney executives decided to shut the entire Jetix down and rebrand it as Disney Channel. However, the rebranding did not go without controversy. Since Disney Channel is a lot more family-friendly, a lot of programs that made Jetix unique and stand out in front of competition didn't make the transition. Shows such as Totally Spies, Puka, Iggy Arbuckle, What's with Andy, Life with Louie, The Three Friends and Jerry, Team Galaxy, Galactic Football, the list goes on and on. But where Jetix truly excelled at was at the decision to include Japanese anime to the regular programming. Kids who stayed up until 8 PM could watch Naruto. However, the hardcore fans, like myself, stayed up even further to watch Shaman King. Shaman King's manga debuted back in 1998, when I was just a few months old, in Weekly Shonen Jump. It was one of the first mainstream animes to get an international release by Viz Media. The first Japanese animation I've seen was Miyazaki's Spirited Away, although it wasn't this movie that got me into the fandom. The credit has to go to Shaman King, so you can probably figure out how hyped I was when a remake, scheduled for 2021, got announced. However, when I remove my nostalgia-tinted glasses, does Shaman King deserve a remake? Shaman King never was truly mainstream. Its popularity died down over time as other shonens rose to popularity. Shaman King wasn't without its flaws, and being more than 2 decades old made these flaws stand out even more. I have read some reviews on My Anime List and noticed a vocal majority of people saying Shaman King wasn't that great to begin with, calling it mediocre at best and asking why Shaman King is the one getting a remake when other, much older and beloved anime series deserve it more. On the other hand, Shaman King does have a rather large cult following, praising the decision. In an interview to Archipel, Hiroyuki Takei, the Shaman King's author, said, "Rather than drawing for the readers, part of me was making things to have fun myself. This has become a sort of mantra of mine. Why bother with something when I don't enjoy doing it? It's the same principle I applied to my YouTube channel. However, this might have played a part to Shaman King's downfall." Shaman King introduces us to a world where humans and shamans coexist peacefully. Shamans are powerful individuals who are able to reach and contact the world of the dead. With help from their mighty guardian ghosts, shamans keep the universe in harmony. Every 500 years or so, a shaman tournament is held to find a new Shaman King, who is granted one wish by the Great Spirit. Fast forward to modern age. Human civilization is rapidly developing, building factories and pumping large doses of CO2 into the atmosphere. Humans have forgotten about the existence of shamans after they deemed them a threat, and shamans retreated into the background. Yo Asakura, a young shaman, joins the tournament to fight for a peaceful, quiet, uninterrupted life. However, his motivation soon changes as he encounters other shamans, listens to their stories, and most of all, as he faces the main villain. This might all sound like a generic action anime with a tournament arc, and You are not entirely wrong. You see, Shaman King isn't your typical shonen. Instead of epic fight scenes with great choreography, the series' focus aims at the characters. What makes the fights so enjoyable is not how well the main cast performs in battle, it's what they say. It's their each individual motivation enriching battles. It's the arguments between Yo and his rivals that lead them to eventually see the world how Yo sees it and joining his cause. Unlike other shonen protagonists, Yo is a pacifist. He avoids battle, and when he is forced to fight, he doesn't strike the final lethal blow. Yo believes good is in every one of us, which makes him appear weak and naive in front of the villains. Granted, the overall message of friendship is power and power in unity is a little too on the nose, and other animes have since done a much better job at character development. That's why I completely understand why Shaman King just isn't for everyone. What makes it truly unique by leaps and bounds ahead of its competitors like Bleach, One Piece or Naruto are character diversity, style, and the main villain. Even today, I struggle to come up with an anime featuring such a diverse cast of characters. This isn't a huge surprise since animes tend to be set primarily in Japan. However, Shaman King, a manga from 1998, almost broke the rules when it comes to its characters. Native Americans, African Americans, English, Italians, Chinese, everyone representing their culture with their own look, personal story, and background. To complement it all is Hiroyuki Takei's artistry. Shaman King oozes personality and style. You can tell what a character is about just by looking at them. Let's look at Yo for example. Easygoing, a slacker without a care in the world. But there is just something in him that makes you know he is a kind-hearted, friendly person. Now, let's bring up Ren, a polar opposite of Yo. You can tell by his stance he means business. He is aggressive, determined, always setting his eyes on the goal. He's confident, but maybe too confident? The spotlight, however, belongs to the main villain, Hao Asakura. If I didn't tell you he is actually a villain, you probably wouldn't have figured it out. He smiles. He's calm, comfortable, collected, always 2 steps ahead. He knows he's powerful, and no average shaman can muster enough strength to even touch him. His behavior goes hand in hand with his personality. Hao's unpredictable, but instead of a surprise attack, he casually takes a stroll in front of our main cast. He pops up when you least expect him, often alone, and afraid to risk his own well-being. This should tell you how much Hao's comfortable with his position, planning, and forethought. If you have never seen an episode of Shaman King, I highly encourage you to do so. Though I won't be surprised if you dropped it by episode 20 or so. Shaman King has a strong beginning, but it loses its drive and enthusiasm. As I have said, the anime is now over 20 years old, meaning certain aspects feel outdated. In fact, every strong point that made Shaman King a cult classic can easily be or have already been outclassed by another shonen. The animation is noticeably cheap. While some story-important fight scenes do get better treatment, most fights use still images and repeating frames. Half the time you can't even tell who's who and who's where. Some minor characters, and even some main characters, reinforce stereotypes and tropes. Some go so far as feeling racist. The main villain isn't defeated by a clever use of a technique. Instead, it's the power of friendship that eventually leads to his demise. The story is basically one tournament arc stretched out for 60 plus episodes. There is a lot wrong with Shaman King, but for every flaw, I am able to find at least one redeeming factor to justify a remake of Shaman King. I only hope the new studio will be able to iron out some of the less stellar parts of the original. And even if all else fails and the remake ends up being a disappointment, At least we have the original's opening.
To be Shaman King.
Good god, that's all I call a proper opening.